With the release of the third movie in the series, I figured what better time than now than to play through and platinum Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, a game being released December 7th, 2023, and as of the release of this video having 3 DLCs, the third of which being released the same day as the third movie in the series, Fire and Ash. It's a game that was ranked a 4 out of 10 difficulty and only requiring one playthrough, and should take about 50 hours to complete. But I don't think I can say it any better than Jake Sully did in the first movie, so I'm gonna let him take it away.
With me,
Soyons at will.
my brothers,
Masmugan.
sisters,
Masmugan.
and we will show the Sky people
So today we do it.
that they cannot take whatever they want.
The game opens up 8 years before that amazing speech from Jake Sully inside the ambassador program called TAP, which is basically a school for Na'vi children, and it was made to help make beneficial relationships with the Na'vi. And as Alma, the teacher of the class, is giving that presentation, the head of the program, John Mercer, walks in and starts to lecture the children. And during that lecture, he tries to take my Avatar songcore, which apparently my mother left to me and my sister, who defends it from Mercer, and he says that because of that, we don't get dinner tonight. Later that night, Talon picks the door and me and all the other Na'vi children try to escape, but are immediately caught by Mercer. And as Ahari stands up to him and attempts to walk past, he shoots her in the back. We skip forward in time to when Jake is leading his uprising, and during a lesson that Alma is teaching, Mercer comes in and says that she and all the other humans need to evacuate.
Look, we have lost Pandora. Some Avatar driver named Jake Sully went full native, turned the Na'vi on us. That's why you can't trust any of them. I need you to get your stuff together and get back in your old damn body now. Puppet show is over.
He then leaves and tells some troopers they know what to do, but as they are about to empty their mags, Alma comes back and takes them out, and we all make a run for it, and then Alma puts us in a cryogenic sleep to keep us safe. After a quick character creation, I am woken up by Alma, and after questioning the fact that the RDA had left, a random Na'vi calls me a name I'd never heard before and says that it's my clan's name and also that the Sky people have returned, and they're finding some rations to replenish my energy. The RDA and Mercer blow through the door, and he commands the troops to get rid of me and the other Na'vi that were put to sleep. I start making my way out of the building by leaping, jumping, and sliding through obstacles, and as I progress, I run back into the Na'vi warrior from before, and he gives me a radio, and before we part ways, I ask him his name, and he says it is Solek. And after that, I continue on my journey to safety, and as I make it to the door, I get flung back by an AMP and held at gunpoint by Colonel Sanders. And as Mercer gives the nod to take me out, Solek comes to the rescue, telling me to run, and run I do, all the way to the beauty that is Pandora. I start searching for survivors of the escape and find Solek injured. I say I will help him this time and take his longbow, then he teaches me about my Na'vi senses, and using those I find wood to make arrows, then head off to find some Dapafet pods. I find them and make my way back to Solek, and after giving him one, I ask what I should do next, and he says I need to find my own way. But until then, I should join the Resistance. After seeing a copter in the sky, he runs off saying he'll meet me at base camp. I make the Resistance HQ and meet Priya once I enter. Then I start to explore, and as I go further into the HQ, I find Talon and Alma, and she explains what happened at TAP and then says that we had been asleep for 16 years. After finishing my conversation with Alma, Talon guides me to meet a person called Raj, who hooks me up with some new clothes which boost my gear score, because there are no levels in this game. But after Raj, the tour continues and I'm led to meet Alexander, who gives me the SID, which is basically just the game's hacking tool. After a quick tutorial, I head outside to meet the other Sorrentu. While sitting around the fire, they talk about what they should do next. And after the talk, Talon says we should go talk to Alma, since she is calling a meeting of the Resistance. During the briefing, Alma speaks to the other clans and how getting an alliance with them could help turn the tide, and as Sorrentu, they may be willing to listen to us. Priya then speaks about an RDA drill site that is nearby and polluting land, which ends up being the start of one of the trophies of the game. Obviously, I volunteer to go take care of the drill, and with that, the briefing ends and I head out. Once arriving at the drill site, I start to pick off the RDA troops and then sabotage the machinery, causing it to explode. And with that destruction, Pandora is allowed to heal a little bit, and then Talon starts talking on the radio saying that he and the other TAP Na'vi found some big flower. So I head over to meet them. I make it to the group in the flower, and we all agree to link to it to create a connection to Awa. And while connected, I speak to Intu, the first of the Sadentu, and he tells me that our clan were the ones that weave the clans together through stories, and after some advice, I unlock the ancestor skill Air Boost, which is basically just a double jump. I return to Priya and she shows me the air quality of Pandora, going back to that trophy I mentioned earlier. I then talk to Solek and he gives me my own song chord. I then confide in him that Nor looked confused after linking with Awa, and Solek tells me that Awa shows who a Na'vi is or what they can be, so I leave to go find Nor, and as I find him I get the title card, and as I talk to Nor, we both agree to fight the RDA to save Pandora. And once we agree on that, one of the resistance camps gets attacked, so I rush to help, and once arriving I see Alma checking on some injured people, and Solek hands me a staff sling, then entrusting me with protecting the others that are in the building. And while protecting the building, I head to an abandoned one further back and grab an assault rifle. And as I walk out, a helicopter is chased off by a Na'vi riding Ikron, and once I take down the last of the RDA troops, the Ikron rider from earlier shows up again and introduces herself as Atua of the Aranahe clan. And she says that the Aranahe have to go to war, but her father needs to be convinced, and since I'm a Sarantu, he ain't listen to me. And after the conversation ends, I pop my first trophy of the game. I head to the Aranahe home tree, and this unfolds at the entrance.
You, stranger! I've not seen your kind before. What clan are you?
They look odd. Adua invited me here to see her father.
What's that on your face?
It is the mark of the Sarentu. And yet the Sarentu we once knew did not defy Ewa with scraps from the Sky People.
It's all I know. They stole us when we were children.
They have stolen many things. You were gone a long time. And you are young. Has your spirit been molded by the Sky People? Or do you remember the ways of your clan?
Shoo! Put that away. Sharp eyes. A Sarentu's gaze. But yours is heavy. Let Home Tree be a refuge from your burdens. We will put some color in your cheeks. Or in your clothes at the very least. You will pick up the threads of your people here. Oh, how I miss their stories. They loved our silk harvest, the sweet smell of dye mayauntu. Katnat, let me take the Sarentu. The poor child knows nothing of our ways.
Go. We will speak more when you are settled.
I follow Nafika in a home tree and she starts to show me around and introduce me. And once we stop to talk to Kitangi, she mentions I should find Itu at a nearby hunting camp so he can show me how to properly hunt. I make it to the camp and meet not just Itu, but his Ikran Zomi, and he gives me a heavy bow and says that we must thank the things we hunt, and then sends me out to hunt a stern beast. And after finding one, I thank it for its gifts and start my trek back to the home tree. And upon returning, I give the harvested meat to Nafika and Riloon, then walk and talk with Nafika where she brings me to a crafting table to make some new gear. And with the new fit, I go to talk to Kanat and ask him to have the Iranhe join the resistance, but he refuses, and after he leaves, Nafika tells me to go to the top of home tree to meet with Atua. And when I reach the top, she tells me about the king lore and how they have been driven from their nest, and while still talking to her, another Navi named Yafilu runs up saying that Kanat needs Itu, but he is nowhere to be found. So I leave with Yafilu to go look. I catch up with her at an outlying Navi camp and she says she wants to find Itu and that she's retracing his steps and that he may have a camp near some stone pillars. I make it to a construction site that had been attacked and find Ali Moon. She says she found the place how it is and I start searching around for clues to what could have happened. During my investigation, I learned that it was an Iranahe hunter that caused the damage and I discuss that with Ali Moon and she decides she must warn the other Navi while I go and hunt down the aircraft that got away. I find the crash site of the aircraft and after taking out the RDA that were left, I go back to Home Tree to inform Ali Moon and find her talking to another Navi named Neon. And it turns out he was the one that took down the RDA transport, not Itu. So my search for him continues. I head back to the wilds and find some RDA guarding a cave that Itu may be near, so I obviously take them out. Once entering the cave, I search for clues of what happened and pick up the sin trail of Ikran blood, so I follow that to catch up to Zomi and find her fighting an entire unit of RDA. And once I help take them out, I find Itu trapped inside a downed RDA transport. But once I get the cargo door open, another RDA aircraft comes in, guns blazing, and traps both of us in the ship. And while a fire starts spreading, I manage to hack another door open and both of us jump out to safety. Itu is adamant about finding Zomi because of the bond they share, but because he is injured, I say he should rest and that I will go and find her. I find Zomi, but unfortunately she is too injured and ends up passing. I return to Home Tree to find Itua, but run into Kanat instead, and he tells me why he was reluctant to join the resistance. And after we finish talking, I leave to go find Itua and find her not far from Home Tree talking with Nafika on what our next move should be, and it is decided that I should get stung by the King Lore Queen so that she can tell me what the next steps are. But in order to do that, I have to get some swamp nectar, but the area that the ingredient is located in is polluted. So I go and take out another RDA mining installation. After a few tries, I finally manage to sabotage the facility and take it out, and help the land of Pandora reclaim another part of itself. And with that done, I head out to find the nectar I was originally looking for. Then go to meet with Nafika and Atua at the Glade of Light. We begin the ritual and I start having a vision where I am the Queen King Lore. After the vision ends, I inform Nafika and Atua what is stopping the King Lords from feeding is the floating signal sensors from the RDA that causes the flowers to close, but in order to take them out, I'd need my own Ikran, so Nafika says I should meet at the Rookery with Itu so I can make the bond. I make it to the entrance of the Rookery and after waiting at a campfire, Nafika and Itu show up and guide me onto the path and leave me with a single piece of advice: to not look down. I find the Ikran that will soon become the one I'm bounded to and try to calm her, but she flies off, so I continue up the Rookery following her. I'm finally able to catch up to the Ikran and bond with her, which allows me to name her, and I choose the name Nimu. And then Itu says we must secure the bond with a final act of trust, and he pushes me off the cliff, and I successfully summon Nimun for our first flight together, and then head to meet Atua.
Your Ikran is fierce and proud. It saw a kindred spirit in you.
Your father refused to help.
They all did. Doesn't matter what I say, they still see me as my father's daughter, not as the Sahik.
You are all he has left.
I am more than my mother's shadow. She loved this place. When I was a child, we'd fly here together, her holding me tight on her Ikran. We'd lay down here. and tell each other stories about the stars. Felt so grown up then.
She made you feel important.
It was the stories of the Kinglor I loved most.
I wonder what stories my people had.
They stole them from you. All the Sky people have taken. My mother saw how their hearts are ruled by ignorance and greed. She stood up and was cut down, dying with Sky people metal inside her. We never spoke of the resistance after that.
Your father thinks the price of fighting them has been too great. Will be too great.
If we do not fight, we will lose everything. We did not want war, but they have made us warriors. We must bring the fight to them.
And after my talk with her, I start my journey to the RDA Sky devices, but on the way to them I pop a trophy for unlocking 3 ancestor skills. I make it to the sensors and begin hacking, destroying them. I then go to meet a tool at another RDA facility and we begin its destruction. I manage to take out the facility through different means of sabotage like usual, and after doing that, a tool attacks a fighter helicopter and takes it down in an explosion, so I leave to go check on her. I find her being protected by her Ekron Talu, but she won't wake up, so I leave her guarded by Talu and fly off to see Kanat at Home Tree. And while informing him of the situation, a tool crash lands through the roof on her Ekron, and after she explains what happened, Kanat agrees to help the resistance fight against the RDA, and with that I pop the trophy for their alliance. I head back to HQ to speak to Alma, and after she says she's gotten official word that the Aranahe have joined, I head back outside and am greeted by a spear being thrown near my head, and I meet Nassim of the Zeswa clan. She tells me to head to the Celebration Arches to meet her sister Minang, so I know where I'm headed to next. I make it to the Celebration Arches and raise the kites as I was told to do, and then meet Minang, who rides up to me on a dire horse. She plans to take me to their home called the Circle, but first teaches me how to tame a dire horse, which I quickly succeed at. I then follow the kites that are raised throughout the land, taking in more of the beauty to make it to the Circle, and once I make it there, I meet a Navi named Keen, and he tells me a little about how the Zespa are.
When the Zakru walk, we follow.
And when they rest?
We let the ground learn our feet as we dance, the air our voices as we laugh and sing.
And after meeting a handful of other Zespa, I find Keen again, and he has me paint a mark on his Zakru, and as it wakes up, he says I'm a friend now. I am then tasked with raising the celebration kites around the Circle, so I leave to go do that. After raising the kites, Nassim and Minang say that we share the same spear and will fight together, and I mention that I wish I could fly, but my Ekron won't answer my call. And the sisters tell me to go to the Chamber of Echoes to connect with Awa. And once that's done, I'm able to summon Nimoon, so with her I fly to investigate an RDA presence in the Mother of Rivers area. I clear out the camp, and after hacking the computer, learn of 2 other camps nearby, so I leave to take those out as well. Once that is done, I go back to talk to the sisters, and they say we should take the fight to Harding, the one in charge of the RDA troops, and once the conversation ends, I pop a trophy for having 3 specialty recipes and another for unlocking 3 skills in each skill tree. I make it to the RDA facility called the Hunting Lodge the sister told me about and start my infiltration of it, and once I make it to the main office, I hack the computer and find a voice recording of Harding and Mercer, where Harding says she was withdrawing to an extraction facility, and after acquiring that information, I begin to sabotage the lodge so it can't be used anymore. And as I finish doing that, the sisters arrive and I inform them that Harding is looking for more Zakru bones, and they say they will go to Weeping Gorge and that someone has to warn Sosul of the impending attack. So as usual, I volunteer to go, and as I do that, Harding comes on the monitor, and as she is talking reckless, Nassim throws a spear through it. I make it to Weeping Gorge and meet Sosul and Keen, and Sosul refuses to leave until the wind flutes are retuned, so after he shows me how to do the task, on the first one I venture out to tune the remaining ones in the gorge. And during my task of tuning the flutes, I pop a trophy for touching 20 bell sprigs. After finishing the tuning, I start to relax and listen to the song the winds were singing until a group of RDA crafts fly overhead. I fly off on the moon to find where the convoy went and find the battle site where Minang is crying over the giant Zakru, and then says to rally the resistance, because the Zeswa are going to battle. I make it to a Navi camp where the sisters along with some of the resistance are having a meeting, and it is confirmed that the Zeswan resistance will draw fire while I sneak in to take out the camp from the inside. And while looking at the things Solek can sell me, I pop a trophy for unlocking 30 entries for gatherable plants. I make it deep into the facility and end up looking at a monitor where Harding tries to threaten me, but it is told to pull back by Mercer, and then they cut communication. I continue forward, sabotaging the plan until I completely destroy it from the inside out. I head back to the Navi camp and talk to the sisters, and they pledge to fight with us till the RDA is gone, and after the conversation ends, I pop a trophy. I then head back to Resistance HQ because we're throwing a party for our recent victories. I go through HQ talking to different people of the Resistance, then head outside to talk to Alma. And while her and Noah are arguing, Priya comes on the comms to say that the RDA has found the HQ right before explosions start going off. I wake up in a cell after the explosions and Billy Nash comes on over the intercom and begins helping guide me through the facility. At first letting me out of the cell, I sneak around the facility till I meet up with Billy in the security room. Once making it to him, I start to try to question on how he was able to convince Mercer, but he shuts me down by saying he got me out and I can either trust him or don't. So I yield and continue to listen to his instructions. I make my way to my gear and get re-equipped again and then move further towards the exit. I exit a corridor into a helicopter bay and Harding is there to greet me from a watchtower and commands the troops to attack. So I now have to survive the onslaught while Billy tries to open the door. After surviving, I make it out of the facility by jumping out of a hole blown out of the wall of the building down into a river. I attempt to call Priya on the radio and she answers and says that everyone is at a new HQ that they used to use as a storage facility, and on my way to the new Resistance HQ, I pop a trophy for unlocking 20 gatherable wildlife entries. Also during my trek to the new HQ, Talon tells me that it was him that told Mercer where the original HQ location was. I arrive and speak to Solek, Rinella, and Nalin, who informs me of Alma's condition after the attack. I lead to speak to Nor, and he says we can trust the Kametiri, the third and final Navi canon of the game, and that they are renowned healers and may be able to help the wounded at the HQ. So I head to a herbalist hut that Nor knew about from his childhood. After a quick investigation, I figure out that someone had recently been at the hut, and just as soon as that happens, a Navi comes fumbling in, being stalked by a feral Thanator. So I defeat the creature first, and then I talk to the Navi, whose name is Okul, and he tells me how to find the home of the Kametiri called the Hollows. Once arriving, I meet some of the Kametiri, and the one in charge, named Mokasa, calls me an imposter Sarentu and tells me to leave, but a different Navi says not all agree with him and to meet her at the Circle of Ancestors. Once meeting her there, she tells me about the former leader Anufi and that she has sequestered herself in a hut near the waterfall behind the Hollows. I make it to the refuge and meet Zamil, and she says that maybe I can help Anufi just like I need her help. I make it into Anufi's hut and officially meet her, but she is crazy and believes that she killed the entire Sarentu clan and refuses to help. So I leave her hut and go talk to Zamil. She tells me about another healer named Siul, so I go back to the Hollows and started investigating the herbalist circle to see if I can find where Siul is. During the search, I learned that Siul was trying to make something from polluted Eyethorn but couldn't do it at the Hollows, and so he went to the canyon. So I follow right behind him. Once arriving, pick up his Centro while near some of these sick Eyethorns, and at the end of the trail, I find an abandoned RDA facility, and after going deeper into the facility, I find Okul, who explains that Siul was gathering materials here to help deal with the Yava, the green mist that is in the area. So I try to make my way in, but the building is out of power, so I have to head to another RDA outpost to get some electrical components, and like usual, I defeat all the RDA and then get the components I needed by sabotaging a generator in the outpost, and after hacking a bunch of terminals at Siul's RDA hideout, I activate the ventilation system and get to the center of the facility, and there Okul is able to make the T needed to traverse the Yava and LC cargo from a place called Tapcon 1. I head deep into the woods that the Yava encompasses and find an old RDA crash site and start to investigate to find more information. I find the black box for the downed aircraft, which gives me the coordinates of the facility. I make it to Tapcon 1 and find a way inside, where as I explore the facility, learn that Navi children were brought to the place as prisoners, where all their belongings were taken from them, and after hacking a computer, I'm able to pull up files and notes on Ahari, where she was labeled disruptive, and because of that reason, Mercer killed her earlier in the game. After hacking another computer, a corrupted message that I've been hearing is finally unscrambled and shows Alma saying that RDA was able to find the Sarentu clan because of a Kametiri contact, and that Mercer will be leading the party to meet the Sarentu. I then defeat the RDA troops that showed up from me activating Tapcon 1 and make my way back to the last location of the Sarentu clan. And once arriving, I find the unused Kametiri medicine vials as well as the spent ammo from the RDA. And after finding my childhood blanket, I have flashbacks of the day the RDA attacked the Sarentu. I then make my way back to the Hollows to talk to Okul, and he tells me that Anufi is in the Circle of the Ancestors and thinks she was too fragile to see me, but I tell him I have proof that Anufi did not kill the Sarentu because we found her medicine unused and unopened. And after handing the proof to Anufi and her linking with Mokasa, the truth is finally told that it was him that told the RDA about the Sarentu, and after Mokasa is cast out and banished, Anufi agrees to heal the resistance wounded and also have her clan join the fight. I then go back to HQ to meet Anufi, and she heals Alma, but recognizes who she is from Mokasa's memories and says that she was with the RDA party that attacked the Sarentu. Rinella and I bring Alma's avatar to Awa to connect so we can see her memories from the day of the raid, so that we can finally know the truth, which I'm going to let play out because it's the peak of the game.
This is where Mokasa told me to find the Sarentu. But...
Hey, no time for cold feet now.
we're just talking to them! Do we need this many soldiers?
This is our last chance. They're too primitive to understand what we can do for their children.
It's for the children.
Exactly! Just think what we can achieve, finally!
We're helping them. They'll see it. In time. No! Let me talk to them! What are you doing?
Don't let them run! We can't find them in the forest!
Thankful! Wama Alafo! Wama Alafo!
Arnie! Nobody gets out!
The Na'vi will never forgive us. Never.
Here, take this.
Don't worry, little one. I'll protect you.
After the memories are done, Alma's avatar dies and I pop a trophy. While I was out exploring Pandora, Priya comes over the comms to say that she wants me to check on Anka, so I agree to do so. I make it to the celebration arches and find Anka, and she says we have to take out the drilling facility in the distance. But while we are talking, the arches break due to an earthquake caused by the drill. After the destruction subsides, I go to try to find survivors, but instead I only find the Navi who have passed because of the destruction. I make it to the RDA drill facility and destroy it, and after that head to a control center not far from the facility and hack a computer to download some crucial information. And after securing the data for Priya, I finish out the last of the RDA and head back to Anka to deliver the USB drive. I then get a call over the comms from Priya as she says that the explosions and fall of the arches caused a bunch of oil to bubble to the surface, and that she is outside with the team to check out the seismic activity from the aftermath. Once I meet up with her, she wants me to find different RDA credentials around the area to help her hack in the RDA system to see what they are up to. And apparently Mercer's new plan is to just drill into the planet as a husk of itself, so I fly off to one of the extraction sites and rid of the RDA influence per usual. This time I had the help of some wild Thanators, which after the RDA are eliminated, I kill one of the Thanators to pop a trophy. I make it to the second probe site and start hacking the sensors to stop them from grabbing any more data. I then take out one more outpost and then have to save Priya from a troop of RDA soldiers, and once I do, she tells me to head to HQ because all the clan leaders are meeting to talk about how to handle Mercer, and after we finish talking, I pop a trophy. During the meeting, Priya shares that the data we got shows her that Mercer is using sonar defense systems, but it can be easily hacked, so I know my next mission. And while in the air, I fight off some RDA scorpions while Alex remote hacks the sensors. But after the last sensor is hacked, Alex is kicked out of the system, so I have to go to, of course, another RDA facility to hack in manually. Once I make it to the control room, I find Talon inside with Mercer on the screen, and once Mercer hangs up, Harding runs in with her gun drawn, and so Talon jumps on me, then runs out with Harding. But I check my hand and see that I have a USB drive that Talon gave me in secret, and then while getting shot at by some scorpions, I jump off a scaffold in Colony Moon and rush to go help the resistance hackers. And once reaching them, I defeat the troops and tell them that even though the hack failed, I did manage to get a data drive thanks to Talon, who they are fairly distrustful of, but Anka agrees that we don't have many other options, so she agrees to take the drive to Priya. Arriving at the Resistance HQ, I walk into a strategy meeting with Solek and Rinella, and during the briefing I asked if the data drive Talon gave me was of any use, and Rinella says that it shows that because of how Mercer's main base was built, there are caves underneath I can use to sneak in. The briefing ends with the affirmation that we will have 5 Navi clans fighting as one.
You will have it. 3 clans, 1 army. I never thought I would see that again.
4 clans. You forget the Sarentu.
And my own. We are 5 clans, fighting as one.
So I leave to go find the cave. I make it to the cave and begin my infiltration. I run into Talon after he saves me from an RDA ambush, and he says he will stay behind the scenes and help guide me and keep me safe throughout the base. I then meet the first of the clans of Kametiri, and after hacking a door, they begin their assault to help me clear out part of the base. I then lower a bridge which lets the Zeswa attack while on dire horseback, and after fighting off what felt like hundreds of RDA, I'm able to disable the base's anti-air guns, which lets the Aranhe come swooping in on their Ekrons. I finally find Mercer and he begins to monologue and taunt me, but I tell him that I will thwart his plans and continue forward and make it to the drill charge, where I begin to start destroying anything I can to disable it. And after that is done, I also take out Mercer's personal guard. I make my way out of the room with the drill charge and then head to the control room to raise it up so that it only destroys the base and not Pandora itself. I then rush to get Talon so that we can escape together, but once reaching the room, I am grabbed by a mechanical arm controlled by Mercer. But as Mercer is talking down to me, Talon proves whose side he truly is on and pins Mercer to the wall, and we can leave him there as Talon hops into a chopper. I call Moon to fly me out of the exploding base. After meeting with the others, we all watch as the charge detonates. Rinella, Talon, Alma, and I have a conversation where Alma wants us to be a family again, but Rinella says that we must walk our own path and learn how to be Sorrento again.
Whatever comes next, we will be ready. The Sarentu are no longer lost to silence. We will share our stories again across Pandora. Our future. Ours to make. Together.
So with that statement from Rinella, we have the completed main story of the game and pop the trophy for it. Now we move on to the cleanup stage of the trophy hunt, and to be honest, it was mainly just collectibles, so this will be a speedrun of those trophies. We got peak performance for unlocking an apex skill, hit them where it hurts for defeating 5 RDA outposts, sprouting potential for touching 20 Terisu saplings, apprentice crafter for making a gear piece of superior or higher, little by little for defeating 10 RDA installations, story guardian for collecting 30 notes, data retriever for completing all the recon retrievals, tether kites for collecting all the windswept kites, one with the clans for completing all the community quests for each clan, mushroom navigator for completing 10 mycelium activities, vision of the ancestors for completing all the Sorrentu totems, and harmony for tooling all the Aeolian flutes, doll collector for collecting all the windswept dolls, fleet-footed for following all the bladewing moths, a good listener for collecting 30 audio logs, father and son in the stars for collecting all the treasure hunt comics, reclaim Pandora for reaching 100% air quality, King Lord Kara for completing the steady wing side quest, and finally the Song of the Sarentu, which is the platinum. And with that, we have completed Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. I will be coming back at a later time to add an addendum to this video where I'll be doing all the DLC, but like I said at the beginning of the video, this video is coming out before the release of the last DLC. So keep that in mind and be on the lookout for that.